thank everybody from our community for making the time and leaving your businesses and carving out the time to meet with us. This is an incredible time for us to bring our community assets and our stories to the President so he can help make the best decisions from WSU and how to connect with our communities. WSU Jefferson County is the only county that we know of in the nation that has been designated by the state and contracts with the county to coordinate the economic development program for the county. And we have done it in a very unique way and had tremendous success. And in typical extension model, what we do is we engaged business leaders, we empowered them with information, and we linked the best available rural economic development strategies. So we focus on entrepreneurship, and you'll have 3 or 4 of our fastest growing entrepreneurs that you'll meet today. We focus on emerging, attracting, and keeping young people. So we're really concerned about lifelong learning and the quality of our education system. All these companies are cutting edge in agriculture or technology or innovation, and we want to work closely with the university resources. And so we're looking at how do we connect university expertise with this business community. And Bill and Craig are the kind of founding guys who came and said this community can do better with economic development. Maybe you want to give why we decided to come up with Team Jefferson, and then we'll introduce folks. Yeah.
When we went to the first CTED meeting 3 years ago, introduced ourselves as Team Jefferson, the room sort of filled with laughter that we had actually taken on that task. And so now we're starting to see some of the results of our effort. The primary mantra of the effort was to set a positive tone for business and to build community. The county and the city and the port are now working together to define a shared economic development effort. Team Jefferson is named to facilitate that and to moderate that, and that's just such a huge step. It's a great story with WSU working with the paper mill. We were able to get some of the energy experts, and you guys have great energy people out there, to come and to visit the mill and to do some work there and do some feasibility studies. And then the mill applied recently for a grant and put a proposal together to do biomass energy production as a byproduct of its paper mill business. That $2 million investment is part of a larger investment that they will now begin to undertake, a $55 million effort to actually build a biomass plant. That plant is capable of producing 200 million kilowatts in a year, which is about 60% of the electricity that we consume here in Jefferson County. And it started with that connection between WSU Energy people.
Overall, we're reaching a new point of, obviously in view of the recession, where a new economy is beginning to be generated, and as a result of some long-term relationships, we're forging into a new partnership with the City of Port Townsend, Jefferson County, and the Port of Port Townsend, which is a special purpose district for economic development.
So then having the resources available for the new innovations and the cottage businesses to develop all kinds of levels, be it writers, be it internet, be it ag. It's amazing how it's all over the board, and I find that WSU plays a huge part in the coordination of that. Also, when people are coming to develop these days, they buy a piece of property and they want to do the most ecologically friendly and inexpensive septic system, wells, the small footprint on the property, and there are laws that they follow within the state, but they come to WSU to say, what is the newest septic system that is good? And they come here for the information, and they get it. But we also are dealing with regulations with critical areas, water resources, we're implementing shoreline plans, all of that. If WSU wasn't in the middle providing us with information so that our citizens and our government and our people were coming together, we'd probably completely fracture.
wages and salaries. We're 40% below the average wage salary in the state of Washington here in this county. It is very difficult for people to find what we call working or living wage jobs. And compounding that, affordable housing. So here we are in an aging community, and we need to bring in a more youthful worker set. And yet the challenges we face in that with housing and wages and trying to find accommodations for people is extraordinarily difficult.
And you have a school system that has, you know, there's no librarian, the books are so old, they're out of date. You have a boarded up condemned building that's our administration works out of, and it's a real cycle and a real catch-22.
That's a big thing that a family is looking for when they want to locate.
What we hear from the superintendents is that they will only provide the state-supported ELERS education. And if there's any workforce training, any arts and crafts, any agriculture, any engineering, it will be done as an after-school program. But if we didn't have 4-H in this community, there would be no programs, no insurance for the Sunfield School youth program, no transportation for the robotics program, no kids getting college scholarships out of 4-H, no technology program. We're not atypical. A lot of rural communities are retired demographic is large, poverty in the schools, and 4-H becomes incredibly essential. When we lose the distance education, when we lose the link to the university research, and we don't see the ads in the paper that say, there's a carbon sequestering job that pays $60,000 a year and fringe benefits. It might get advertised in Seattle, but it doesn't get advertised here to tell our kids that if you have a good education, there is a future.
We have the vacuum components business and we have the vacuum chamber business. Those businesses are really good. Then about 5 years ago, we got a call from a asparagus grower in Peru.
Turned out there's sort of an unexplored business in preserving fruits and vegetables that we've sort of stumbled into and have been perfecting this technology over the last four or 5 years or so. And what we can do with this is we can store fresh fruits and vegetables 5 to 10 times longer than conventional technologies. If we can make these things portable, we can put them on ships, and our storage times are so long that we can keep them alive, and you can ship your cherries, Washington State cherries, to Japan rather than air freight them, which has a huge cost savings and a carbon reduction as well.
A lot of the work done, you know, with CAS was developed through WSU. Oh, really? Yeah. So they would be, you know, interested in looking at the technology, working with you to assess different, you know, different issues they have in post-harvest storage and see how your technology works. It'd be great opportunity.
Machine shop, we do job shop, we do precision machining, metal fabrication. And my husband recruited me a couple years ago when our partner retired. I'm an ex-banker, so I keep tabs on the money end of things. We sell refractory metals and ceramics and do a lot of importing and exporting, and that's really opened up our whole business.
We have a lot of ordinance, so there's a lot of people concerned about, you know, the safety themselves and stuff like that. Bills allow me to go to meetings like this, let the word get out that we are very safe. We've got a flawless safety record.
It makes a difference to people in a rural community, especially if they don't have parents who have gone to college, to have a college campus. I think that makes a difference to the way that people who are even pursuing distance degrees feel about the degrees that they're receiving.